Hey everybody, it's Kory. Guess what? The market is slowing. Yes, I said it, and I'm going to show you what I mean. And at the end of this video, you're going to see the housing stats like we always do. So stay tuned for that. At the end of this video, you'll see the housing stats for the month of April here in 2022. Okay, we're in the first week of May. We just went through the first 4 months of this current housing market for 2022. And where are we at? Volume has gone down, and you'll see that at the end of the video that volume has gone down in 30 and 40% increments in the single family and rural properties. Yes, market is slowing, but that doesn't mean it's going in reverse. That's like me saying that when you go from 200 miles an hour, which we have been doing for the last 5 years, down to 100 miles an hour, that's what I mean that the market is slowing. That does not mean the market is going in reverse. And when you hear on the internet that the market is reversing, make sure that you get clarity from what these guys are telling you, because market slow, market crash does not mean that equity growth is going in reverse. I will guarantee you a lot of these guys are not even telling you a percentage of what they think the market is going to crash under. So be careful what you listen to. But I will tell you our market here is slowing. It's going from that incredible pace over the last 5 years to a normalizing pace, but it's still higher than the normal speed limit. If the normal speed limit is 55, we're at 100 miles an hour still. And to say that we're going to go in reverse, it ain't happening. It's not happening here anytime soon, and I'll justify that here with 3 reasons why I think the housing market here in North Idaho is not going to crash. Okay, let's get into it. Reason number 1, we are on a pace this year, from the beginning of the year, the first 4 months, single family homes in town have gone up 28%. Homes on acreage have gone up 32%. So that's the first 4 months pace that we're on. We're in double-digit territory. So that's reason number 1. We're not going to see a slow anytime soon. The current pace we're on is still pretty fast, pretty high as far as equity gain. The second reason that we're not going to see a housing market crash is history just doesn't tell us that. And you hear people comparing our market to the Great Recession of 2006, 2007, and so forth. This is a different time. And let's just go there. Let's just say that this market is going to be like the last Great Recession. Look at this chart. This chart shows the housing price increases for the last 20 years here in North Idaho. The bottom is the year 2000. The top is the year 2020. And just for a note, the year 2021 went up 32%. So we've seen equity increase every year the last 21 years, with the exception of the 5 years of the Great Recession. From 2007 to 2012, we saw a retreat on equity. But notice there was only 1 year in those 5 that was a double-digit decrease, and it was 13%. The rest of those years were all single-digit drop in equity. So when you hear people say we're going to go into a crash, be careful about this crash bias where you think the market's going to crash like the stock market, where it goes down 20, 30, 50% in a pop. Housing market doesn't do that. It hasn't done that here in North Idaho, and it's not going to do that based on history. If we see double-digit losses here in our market, it's not going to be sudden like next year. You're not going to see a 25% drop in equity in the year 2023. It's probably going to be more like the first year of the recession of 2007, where you saw a single-digit decrease. So keep things in perspective. And the third reason I don't think we're going to have a housing crash is simply because of the low inventory state that we're in. We're at record low inventory for the North Idaho market. In order for that inventory to grow, what do we need? We need builders to build. Guess what they're not doing? They're not building, especially now that they have heard that the interest rates are going up. They are really dealing with some incredible headwinds. Builders have to deal with labor shortages, supply costs, supply shortages, and now the interest rates going up. They do not want to be left holding a bunch of houses that nobody can afford. So they're going to build very carefully. So don't expect the builders to make up the difference for the low inventory that we have. Okay, how about pre-existing homes? How's interest rates going to affect these people that might want to sell their homes? It's actually going to disincentivize them, you guys. So you're a seller in our market. And if you look at this article right here from Redfin, it shows that 51% of all mortgages in the country are below 4%. So here you are sitting on a house here in North Idaho that's under 4% interest rate. You bought this house 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago where it was much more affordable. So your monthly payment's very affordable. And you're going to sell that house and then move into move up into a house that's higher priced with interest rates that are most likely going to be 2% or more than what you're paying. You can't afford to move up. So pre-existing homes are not going to just flood the market and bring that low inventory up. And you go, well, we hear about this great foreclosure thing that's coming. Guys, right now, after the forbearance over the last 2 years, foreclosures are still at all-time record lows. And here in North Idaho, foreclosures have never really been a big part of our inventory. The highest they ever got was around 5% during the Great Recession. They normally teeter around 2% of the market, and right now they're well below 1% of the market. So expecting foreclosures to bring that inventory up is not going to happen, especially in a market where over the last 5 years, you've had the strongest buyers in America buying here. And what does that mean? That means if you bought here in the last 5 years, you competed with multiple bids, and you're competing against a market that brings 30 to 40% cash buyers into that market. You're competing against cash. If you're a loan, you've got to have a loan that's stronger than another loan to win out that bid. Waiving inspections, waiving appraisals. And why is waiving appraisals important? Because if you waive an appraisal and the bank says, hey, that's great that you won that house for $500,000, but we only appraised the house at $450,000, guess what? That $50,000 gap is something the buyer has to bring in cash, and that buyer wins the bid. So you have all these buyers that have just flooded our market over the last 5 years that are strong. They're either all cash or a lot of cash, and then in the meantime, their equity has gone up. They are holding a position where they are not over leveraged. They have no reason to sell their home and foreclose on it. If they get into a situation where they get upside down in a home, there's still enough equity where they could put that house on the market and get out from under it without having to walk away. So again, I'm going to review the 3 reasons why I don't think we're going to see a housing crash here anytime soon. 1, the current pace we're on is still way too high as far as equity growth. We're already into the first 4 months and we're at 20 and 30% equity growth. 2, history doesn't show us that this market goes down in double-digit increments all but one time over the last 21 years. And the 3rd reason is the all-time record low inventory and no hope of it going up. Builders are sketched out. They're not going to build the difference. And sellers don't want to put their house on the market because they're jumping into a higher price market with higher interest rates. They love their current house payment. They're going to stay put for a while. So again, those of you that are teetering on, do I buy now or do I wait out the market? If you're in a position where interest rates are going up, be aware of this fact. Interest rates go up 1%. In doing that, they take buyer power down 10%. I'll say it again. For every 1% interest rates go up, they take the buyer's power away by 10%. So if interest rates go up 2% over the next year, and they most likely are, and housing prices drop 20%, which they most likely won't, but let's just say they do. Prices drop 20%, interest rates go up 2%, you're still able to afford the same mortgage. You have not gained on the market by waiting for the market to come down 20% because the interest rates made it harder for you to buy. So if you're in a position where you can afford a house now with the current interest rates, and you risk going into the next couple of years with interest rates going up and being priced out of the market, that's the person that needs to buy now. I don't see prices retreating to offset the increase in interest rates. And as we all know, those interest rates are only going to go up as we deal with this high inflation. Okay, that's my take on the market here as we sit in May 2022. Let's take a look and see how the market here in North Idaho did for the month of April. Let's get into it.
You have now completed this course.